Good afternoon. Friends, family, loved ones, enemies, contributors, distractors. Kevin Lewis on the Blueprint. And today's show is called Blackface Value. So when we talk about value, we're talking about what something is worth. We talk about the importance of something that gives it value. We talk about the regard that something has for you or someone else. Is held to and is held to and deserves a certain value. Um, whether that value is monetary, the quality of something, or the belief in something. The beliefs have a certain value. Some things that we believe carries a lot of weight, and that carries a value in a lot of ways. So when we talk about the face value, we're going to do the face value first of all. When we talk about face value, when they talk about taking something, a lot of times we know when we say, "Well, I'm taking it off of face value," they talk about judging something, the book by its cover. That's a mindset that we have. But when you talk about face value, what face value is actually, it's the value that is printed or um, depicted on something. That's the face value. Like a coin, a banknote, a postage stamp, they have a face value. It's a superficial appearance of something, and it's an implied value, something that is basically letting you know this is what it's worth. Now, we all know some things are worth a lot more than what's posted on them or what is said to be the face value of something. An example of that is people that collect stamps. The stamp will have a face value of, say, like 5 cents. But because the stamp is so old that it has incurred a value within itself that's more than the face value of the stamp. The same thing as, say, like a coin or a quarter or a nickel. It tells you a quarter is 25 cents, a nickel 5 cents. Now, if you have a nickel that was that has a date on it of, say, like 1942 or even earlier than that, in the 1920s or 1930s, that coin will be more valuable than the face value of it only being a nickel or 5 cents. That's what face value means. Face value is something that's superficial, that's on appearance. A lot of times, just appearance of something that's noted. Now, when you talk about um, a black face, what is the value of a black face? What value does the black face hold to others and to ourselves? The value of the black face is in the um, the eye of the beholder, if you will, or the race of the beholder. A lot of times, and the importance of the value that someone is putting on a black face, if they are from what race they are in, it holds different ramifications. It has different consequences and it has different conditions. What is the value of the black face to someone that is not black, to the rest of the world? What is the black face value? What do they see when they see your black face? And on the other hand, what do we see when we see a black face? This is more important to me than what they say or what they see. Someone else that's not black, what they see. Because after we can control how others view us by the way we view ourselves. This is what I believe. So, what is the black face value of others? And when you talk about something that you value, it may not be personal. You can value something, can have value to you that means nothing to you, but it has a value because what it means to others. That is how people do their investments. Some things are valued in different ways for different reasons. If I give an example, you talk about, let's say, a peanut farmer. Someone probably have no, say if they're allergic to peanuts, but that doesn't stop them from being a peanut farmer, because not how their personal relationship with the peanut, it's how other people value the peanut. Peanuts are marketable. They can make, you can make money from them. You could do a lot of different things with it. Other people hold value in something that you may be invested in. A drug dealer, he may not try his own supply, but the drugs is something that he is able to profit from because others have an interest. It's a demand for it. It's not a personal thing with that commodity, but he has a demand for it. Insulin person that drug, I'm gonna say the drug dealer of insulin, because that's basically what they are, the pharmaceutical drug dealers. That person may not need insulin, but he knows the need of it by others. Therefore, he is interested. He's invested in insulin. Others may invest in that insulin, not because they want it themselves, but because the price of it is going to be high. The demand of it is going to be high. So no matter what price you put on it, people are going to need it to live. And then I can profit off of it, even though I don't personally need it. I want to thank some of y'all for showing up. Um, I appreciate Lede Bishop showing up, and Avelina, I appreciate you showing up. And RC, I appreciate you showing up, fam. And Sakina, Lakima Salam, sister. Aisha, I appreciate you showing up. And Teresa, I appreciate you showing up. And Teresa had a comment. She said, priceless for me. Those owning prisons see a value as well, as they exploit the prisoner and the family members for free labor, cost of phone calls and commissary. That's a different spend than I even thought of. That's a great take on that. How they use the black face value to them, because they have a prison, a farm system basically, that the crop that they get in can make them money. Like Teresa said, you invest in prisons, you need inmates. Inmates will bring money to the prison system. You're not doing the prison system to what they call correctional facility. They're not. You're not caring about the correction part of it. You're caring about the money that comes along with having this prisoner. Mama's gonna call, wife's gonna call, grandma's gonna call. They want to put children on the phone. They want to come visit. It's going to take money to do this. These towns that have prisons, there is giving money to them. I work in towns outside rural areas that have prisons, and the surrounding area makes money off of the inmates, basically because of the prison being there. It's part of the economy. The prison guards, they don't want to travel, 200 miles. They're going to basically live in the city, the town where the prison is at, and family members coming to visit, they're going to stop and get gas. A lot of times, if it's too far to drive, they're going to get a hotel nearby. So they're boosting the economy. And when most of the faces in there are black, then you have a black face value where they care nothing about you personally. They care about the value that you can bring them. And I'm glad you brought that up. Because when we talk about our black face value, the rich people, like I say, the rich people could be selling a product that they won't use themselves. If you think the owner of McDonald's actually eats Big Macs, then you have serious issues in how you think about things. If you think the owner of these restaurants or businesses actually use a product that they're selling to you, then you have to rethink your values or how you look at things. They will sell it to you even knowing that it's not even good for you. But what they did, they created a situation where that's what you can afford. If I can make something to sell to the poor, I got to have the poor there to purchase. And with us in our community, we have to think about the investments that are being made in our community. And when you invest in something, like I was talking about the peanut farm, sometimes people invest in property or land in a place that they have no desire to have any business or home in. They will invest in property on our side of town or brown side of town, um, in the slums, the ghettos, or whatnot. And then sometimes they invest in houses and they become landlords. That's an investment. They have no, they are not, they don't even care about um, the value or the things that's causing the property value to go down in their community because they're not in it for that. They don't care about the community. They want people to move into the houses, and they want those people to have low self-esteem, so they won't have a demand on saying this needs to be better. You need to fix this. You know, all of these things that will come with another area if they were landlords in. Those people will have higher standards and higher demands. Hey, my toilet's not flushing the way it should be. Hey, the plumbing, this is wrong. And you know, they would, you know, put demands that people in the hoods won't put demands on. And they become slumlords. Hey, we got a roach infestation. I need you to do something about that. I'm paying my rent here. You know, we have rats. You know, we need to do something about that. They will invest in things with no interest in other than the money that they can make off of the investment. They don't care about you or the area that they're invested in. And sometimes they will purchase uh, or they will invest in something for the long term effects down the line. It's not the value of it right now, it's what it may cost down the line, the price down the line. Now, when we talk about someone investing in something and they're not talking about what it's worth now, that's called an investment for the future. They may invest in something that may take something down. And what they do when they invest, these people that do investment, they said they have a rule of thumb: buy low, sell high. Now I'm going to talk about the buy low part. When I'm talking about an area, they don't care about the depreciation of the area when they want to buy into it. They don't care about the depreciation of the people in the area, the faces in the area. So because they're able to take advantage of them. So if they are investing in a product that they care nothing about, they're going to want that product to be low. They want to purchase low. So the stakes in the future, it will be a valuable investment. Keep that in mind. In the future, it'll be a valuable investment. So what am I talking about? If you keep the black face value low, that means that they can be bought at a lower price. The black faces, they can be bought, they can be purchased at a low price. And therefore there's a benefit in devaluing the black face. If you keep the value of the black face low to white people, that means when whatever happens to black people, it doesn't matter as much. What if you keep the black face value low to black people, we will see our own demise as not being that big of a problem. It will be easier to dispose of us if our value is low. It'll be easy for a 12-year-old Tamir Rice to be killed in America by a police officer and America not be outraged by that. It'll be easier for a lot of things that we see happening in this country, us being a victim of, it'll be easier to digest because our value is down. It'll be harder for us to stand up and fight for the things that's happening to us because we have a low value within ourselves. We see the black face as in a low way anyway. So you only see certain amounts of us willing to stand up, willing to fight, willing to sacrifice. And a lot of us that's willing to sacrifice, we will only sacrifice so much because it's not that important as the rest of our values. We have personal values that we put higher than the value of our people. When I'm talking black face, I'm not talking about the individual. I'm talking about the race, the black face values. We are easy to dispose upon or to dispose of. It's easier to witness our disposal when they lower the value or they devalue the black face. Now, they say like they would use us to discard. They would use us and discard us. That's what disposal, something that's disposable. They make that means they renders us disposable. They will use us and discard us for whatever intended purpose that we held to them, because our purpose was only for a particular reason, a thing. A football player, a basketball player, athlete, period. That you're there. I had somebody tell me that basically said I was playing a victim or something, or black people need to stop playing. He was a black person telling me because I was commenting on the Shakur Sanders issue with the NFL in the draft, and he was basically saying that that stuff don't is not still prevalent. It's not the 60s, and we need to stop being victims and having a victim mentality. I didn't even want to engage back and forth, but I'm like, if that's what you see, fine, please. That's good. I'm not going to waste all my energy on something that someone that can't see what's right before their eyes. But if we don't understand what's happening and we don't have a value in our own cause, then that will reflect on how we fight for our cause, the extent that we will go to fight for our cause. They can pay. He brought up where they pay these athletes all this money and all this stuff like that. Yeah, but how much money are they making off of these athletes? They need you for a particular purpose. After you can't serve that purpose, they will discard you. That means that you are disposable. They will find someone else to do the same thing. They don't care about hurting your feelings personally because they have someone else that'll take your place. They don't care about hurting your feelings or exposing themselves to how they are in front of you because we're only going to pout about it for a certain amount of time. And we're going to go back to doing the same thing that we were doing. Therefore, we're rendering those that we care about disposable. Now, they use some of our, and they'll be disposable for, I will say this, 30 pieces of silk, for whatever that means to you. When they have our value low, that means they can buy us at a low price. And many of us will be bought for a low price and used for whatever the system wants to use us for, even against our own. We have, I remember Jackie Robinson speaking out openly against Malcolm X's theory of our human rights or civil rights movement. They used Jackie Robinson because what he meant, the value that he meant to the black community, which what gave him value was they was allowing him to play their game that they were not allowing us to. That's not that he reached a high standard. This is just a standard that they allowed. They picked and chose who they wanted to break the barrier. They allowed him to do it, and he became the hero in the black community. Justifiable. I'm not getting into that. I'm saying because he was held in high regard, because the standards was low. It's just like saying, you the black, I'm allowing you to come into my house. The rest of y'all can't. Or previous to this, most of y'all can't. You know, it's going to slowly matriculate into me being able to open up my doors to black people. But you're the first one I'm going to let in, and he becomes a hero. He wasn't the best black baseball player at that time. We had players in the Negro League that was better, that said they were better. But he was the one that they broke the race barrier, so-called race barrier, with allowing him to play their games, and we put him on the pedestal. He was our hero because our values, our blackface value was low. But he became our hero, and he was the one that they were able to use to speak out against other black leaders. He became a leader to us, and all he did was run bases and hit baseballs. But he became a leader, and they were able to use him against Malcolm X, to speak out against Malcolm X's teachings and speakings of Elijah Muhammad and whatnot. This is what they're able to do when the blackface value was low. Jackie Robinson didn't see a value in the other leaders. Many of our people don't see the value in us being black because they had our value so low. So when I saw another black face, I didn't want to, I would partake in attacking their concepts. The damage that was doing, pitting us against each other, was priceless. So Jackie Robinson spoke out against Malcolm X and said, hey, I'm with Martin Luther King. They pitted Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. They did that purposely. They wasn't seeing the bigger picture, the two leaders or the people, the followers of these leaders. So they were using James Baldwin. Hey, I want y'all to come on. You think about the times they had Malcolm X come on national TV. They would never have him come on his own unless they wanted to be able to break him down publicly. And what they were finding out is that this brother cannot be broken down. They didn't want to give him exposure. They wanted to expose him. So what they did, they'll bring Jackie Robinson on, or they'll bring James Baldwin. They had one with him and James Baldwin because they had different ideologies. And it wasn't what they wanted to happen, it didn't happen because they were open to the discussion. They were disagreeing without being disagreeable. So it didn't create a divide. So it went against the intended purpose. The intended purpose was to devalue one leader in place of another one that they felt was more appeasable, or that they wanted the black people to follow. They do this from time to time to help devalue the black faces. If you think about when Fox News, this is not so long ago, that was distant past, so this is more recent. But remember Fox News, which has never been friendly to the black community as far as I'm concerned. They definitely wasn't friendly towards President Obama. They never was friendly towards the Reverend Al Sharpton and his civil rights expenditures, if I will. Or they cared less about Stacey Dash. She was a formidable actress. She was just an actress. But because she was anti-Obama, and they got Al Sharpton to come on and talk anti-Obamanism and attack him, that served a purpose to them. Because now we're looking at black faces that we're familiar with attack somebody that they wanted us to see attacked. And maybe we may change our mind instead of hearing a Fox News anchor or a conservative white politician attacking Obama, which is going to be the norm for us. We don't care. But now we're seeing one of us attack one of us. That means a lot different. That's different. Maybe we need to listen to what they're saying. So Fox News hired Stacey Dash. What does Stacey Dash have to do with politics? Then they hired Reverend Al Sharpton. And all the while that Obama was in office, they got these black faces to attack them. They got these black faces to attack him. They got these black faces to talk about Black Lives Matter movements. Then when Obama could no longer run again, what did they do? They disposed of them. Because in the beginning, they were disposable. They were used for an intended purpose and then disposed upon. They didn't know that was happening. They thought that they were, oh, well, hey, I'm important now. I'm on Fox News. I'm on national American news and probably seen around the world in certain countries. But they were being used and disposed upon after their intended purposes was up. They didn't care about what they had to say after there was no more Obama in office. It meant nothing. Them talking about Biden or Harris, it meant nothing. They didn't want them talking about or talking great about Trump meant nothing to them, to the news, the Fox News, or the conservatives that watch Fox News. They didn't care about the value of a black Al Sharpton civil rights leader talking about Donald Trump. Didn't mean anything to them. They used them for a certain purpose. Now, as soon as Obama left office, like I said, they were gone. And Malcolm X said something. He had a quote. He said, "They will use us to kill us just to say that it was one of us that did it." If you just take away the kill, they will use us to battle us just to say that there's a battle in the black community, that the black community is not all with Kamala Harris. The black community is all not with President Obama. Maybe some of y'all need to think about not backing that person. They will use any celebrity or anyone with status, the highest one they can, that goes against another person in the black community, because that black face value means something to us watching another black person put down another black person. That's a long-term investment for them. That's a long-term investment for them in our black community. That's the way that they invest in our black community, is to bring it down the black face value. And the problem is, we don't see the black face value as being priceless, as a long-term investment. We don't see that. Therefore, it's easier for them. If they bring the black face value down, it's easy for them. And the stakes are high. We don't understand. The stakes are high. The investment is high. And I'm gonna read. I appreciate Sharon Simpson Anderson show reading. And Karen, she said Gaddafi. She said that broke my heart. And that and Gaddafi, they called him the Mad Dog, right? I believe they used to call him the Mad Dog. And we used to always hear Gaddafi, anything. This is America's MO. So I'm glad you brought that up. This is something more international. The way America works, they will trash someone's image, tarnish their image for the public. They use the media to get you to like who they want you to like, or dislike who they want you to dislike. And you will do that if you don't know much about that person. We have lazy politics in our nation. People believe whatever the talking heads on TV tell them. We have lazy politics in America with Americans. A lot of black Americans came up not liking Malcolm X because he wasn't Martin Luther King. He didn't sound, and he wasn't Martin Luther King. He wasn't meant to be Martin Luther King. They both can speak to you in their own ways, but one was depicted to be the anti Martin Luther King. So anyone that loved Martin Luther King, they couldn't like Malcolm X. That's how the lazy pop. They wouldn't listen. They was okay. That's ready. He's challenging my leader. He's talking about doing something in a different way. When we all do things in a different way, we all should look at different ways to solve problems. You know, if you had a math problem, if you were introduced to algebra and you was like, man, this stuff is kicking my butt, somebody could tell you, well, this is how you break down that problem. And you're still not really getting it. Or you may be getting it. But someone say, well, I have a different way of breaking down that problem. What issue do you have learning different ways to breaking down the problem? There should be no issue to solving the problem in different ways. But what America does, they will tarnish the image and they will make people think that this person is this evil villain, dictator, and he means no good. And all the while, he was doing something for the whole continent of Africa to uplift Africa, and that became a threat. So and what they do, they get one of them to kill one of them. So it looks like it was all along one of them. Same thing with Patrice Lumumba. Many of us, if we read the book or learn about Patrice Lumumba, he was killed by his own people that was put there to kill him by America or by the Europeans or the Belgian government. They confessed to having a part in his, you know, his, it wasn't assassination. It basically was, but it wasn't depicted as that. They put his enemies in power and empowered them to be able to capture him. And this is what happens with a lot of African leaders that we don't learn about. Like I say, a lot of times being lazy in our research or what we want to um, look at, we pick and choose the value of the things that we want to see and the value of the things we want to learn about. And some of these things that they don't want us to learn about, they're not going to teach you themselves because that's counterintuitive to a lot of times what I would say would be their motives and their agendas. The blackface devaluation, and then we set out a place where we are devaluing, and not only us, others are devaluing our efforts. And now you see an effort where they're trying to erase our history. You can't. I mean, you can do it. You can do it for the American public, but that means that we have to counterattack that. We have to go about ways of teaching our history, be more forceful in that. You know, the Pan African celebrations that people, if you want to do that, then a part of doing that should be teaching. Part of anything that we do now should be about teaching our history. It was a time that our history wasn't taught at all. And we came up with something called Black History Week with Carter G. Woodson. Now, that was something that was seen as something that we needed to have some type of blackface value and say that and see that what they're telling us about us is not actually true. We have a bigger value. I have proof. Look at our history. Now we have to go back to doing that, and we should never have relied on them to teach our history or relied on them to support our history. And I mean financial support. I see that they're taking certain things away. Um, um, that the funding, the federal funding that was for this plantation or this black museum or whatever, and they could do that for anybody. See, the concern is this is like um, Sharon said, divide and conquer still in place. This is the divide and conquer that I'm getting at right now. Just because it's happening to us and it's not happening to your people, you're not putting up a stink about it because it should be, whether it's right or wrong. Why are they closing these type of things, these type of monuments, these type of museums, these type of books? Why are they doing that? Because next is going to be you, or it could be you. Because you don't care now, what's happening to somebody else in this country, what they deem as the undesirables, the real undesirables in this country, it's going to eventually come to you. When anything is happening to any people in this country, any group of people, whatever group you want to say, I look at right and wrong. Is it right? Is it wrong? We have to fight against right and wrong, because just because it's not affecting us now, it's going to eventually come around to us. That's why the divide and conquer thing is a good statement. I appreciate that. So anyway, blackface values, and it's easy for them to do the things that they want to do when they devalue the black faces. Other people, other races will see black faces and they have a certain um, image in their mind or a certain criteria in their mind, what they think about us or what they think about, because mainly it may be something on the news. If they're not living around us, they're not in our communities, they're going to go by what they see on TV, what they see in the media depicted by us. So a lot of times I get on people when I say, man, why are you showing these ghetto fights? Black people fighting each other. You're putting in social media, we have the ability to control the Associated Press. I put it like the AP poll, what happens with the Associated Press. There's things that's happening and it's on like a stream. They got artists, so the news goes and they decide what they want to put on their news program because they're selling news. They're not actually telling news, they're selling news. And they're telling people how they want them to view things. So somebody could get lynched in Mississippi. They don't want to hear all the belly aching about another black person being lynched. So they're not going to even let you know that. We have to go to social media to see that. We can control the media that we are presenting to each other. Instead of fighting about Michael Jordan and LeBron James and all this stuff and spending all this energy on things that mean nothing to our people, spend that time educating each other on our history. Spend that time educating each other or informing each other on what's going on in our communities. Spend that time informing each other that there's a new black business that opened over here on Commerce Street. Check it out. Inform each other, be informative with each other about what's happening in District 2 over here and what they're not putting the money towards and what the money that was given to our district and how the funds are being appropriated or not being appropriated, the schools that close it, what's on the horizon. If you have that type of information, make that our Associated Press. Put that information out there for us to feed on. Flood the social media with things that's pertinent to us to help us build, to upraise and uplift the black face value, to know that we have a voice in what's happening. We have to counterattack the attacks that we are under. If we don't see the need to invest, the long-term investment of ourselves, then we will sink to an all-time low. Going back to when they were able to just walk all over us and we had no leaders. It was a time that they were doing that, but we still had values within ourselves. If they take away and strip our values and the values and love that we have for each other when we see each other, which I am seeing happening, and I can see it in our media. This is what I mean. The damage that is done by us for 30 pieces of silver to us that devalues our image. The damage done by 50 Cent putting out all of these black crime drug movies. And we're seeing it and we're entertained by it. And our kids coming up are entertained by it. You're glorifying the time in our lives when this is what we were doing on the streets. This was a small faction of America. This was a small faction of Black America. Glorifying the street drug dealing, violence, and all of these things like this. So now you have one series. Now you got another series. Now you're putting another because now you're making money. This is depreciating the black face value. Others will see this and say, well, this is how they are. This is not white people putting this out. This is one of them putting it out on their own. You don't see the long-term effects. We don't see the long-term effect when we continue to watch these things and make it a popular thing to watch. When we talk about Tyler Perry movies, the effect of him depicting black men in relationships in a certain way in all of his movies, it's always this player, no good black man relationship type thing going on. And it's always, then he said, well, you know, it is one that's doing this, but why are you depicting? We got to project our own positive images, especially if the negative images are always being pushed down our throat. Or that's all we are seeing. Because we have positive black father figures and always have had those in our community. I mean, you don't think Obama was a good father? Did he display anything that showed you anything other? Do you think Martin Luther King was a good father? Or did he display anything that will make you think otherwise? Was Malcolm X a good father? Did he display anything that made you think otherwise? Was Muhammad Ali a good father? I don't care about how his boxing was. Was he a good father? Any of these people that we can name and look at their parenting, how they love their kids and how they love their families, were they good husbands? Tell me. But don't just tell me, tell us. Let us know. Yeah, this person did this. On top of that, he was a loving and caring father. You're focusing on the problem, and the problem is selling. The problem is devaluing our face value to ourselves and to others because you're putting it out there for others to see. When Stephen A. Smith, when him and LeBron James was going at it, I don't care about what he thinks about LeBron James basketball, but he wasn't critiquing LeBron James basketball. They do that all day, every day with any player. When you come on national TV and you look in the camera and you say, as a father, I'm pleading with you, stop. As if you're doing, this is one of the main athletes that we know of that's not only parenting his kids, you can see what's happening with his kids. They're not out because if they were out doing something reckless or crazy, it would be in the news because of who he is. Not only is that, he's trying to parent a community that he came from, opening a school and giving things to them. When you come on as a black face, putting down another black face that is doing positive things in the black community, and you're talking about parenting, not sports. Don't tell me you're doing your job. And actually, you are doing your job because you're working for those that are opposing our black face value. You can't talk to somebody about parenting and talk about nepotism when that is all they do. That is all they do. Jeannie Buss, how do you think she became the majority owner of the Lakers? Because of her dad. She wasn't qualified. They passing things down to their kids. Lane Kiffin, he got a coaching job, one of the youngest coaches, because of his dad. His dad was a legendary coach. Lane Kiffin, if y'all don't know, Lane Kiffin is like, he's a college coach at Ole Miss right now. He used to be coach of the Raiders. They got rid of him. They fired him. He was assistant coach with, he went to USC. You know, he ended up getting fired. He went to Alabama as assistant coach. He ended up getting fired. He went to Ole Miss, but he's getting these jobs, getting fired, but he got it by nepotism. We are not attacking that, but when we see it on our own, when we see something that we think is nepotism with us, then we want to attack it. But that's we're going on there talking about a black man parenting. I have 2 daughters. This is what Stephen A. said. I'm telling you, as a father, stop this. Your son got exposed in the last seconds of a basketball game by an all-star player that exposes a lot of people at different times. And you're saying he does it as a father. LeBron James is at fault. So you're telling the world this. You're telling everyone that's watching the games this, that's tuning in to ESPN, a black face talking about another black face parenting. That is one of the best parents out there, or examples for us, athletes, as a parent. You're attacking that black face value. And instead, to bring that home, we got Anthony Edwards, who was supposed to be the new face of the NBA coming up, going to be the new face of the NBA. He has a child that he refuses to interact with because the mother didn't get an abortion. He's like, I'm not going to be with you. You're not my wife. I'm not going to be with you. He wanted her to abort the child. He publicly says this on social media, tweeting this and stuff. I'm not going to have anything to do with that baby. I'm going to pay my child support because they have to get the paternity test. I'm going to pay my child support. And I'm not going to have anything to do with her. Like I told you, he had a daughter. He got a young daughter now with this one particular woman. I don't know how many other kids he got. I don't think he's even married. But when you publicly say, I'm trying to get you to have an abortion and you didn't. So since you didn't, I'm not going to have anything else to do with. I'm not going to have anything to do with this kid. When you say something like that publicly, it's not a private conversation. You put it out there for the world to see. The value of a black face saying that about their kids is showing others a certain image of us. Stephen A. didn't go on and say anything about Anthony Edwards parenting and said, I'm begging you as a father. I have 2 daughters. He didn't say that to Anthony Edwards because that is meaningless to the system. When we have differences, airing out those differences, publicly will depreciate, us fighting publicly will depreciate our black face value. Air out your differences privately if you can. Um, Handle it in a certain manner if we can. Understanding that some of us are taking those 30 pieces of silver and doing what they can to help the system devalue the black face value of our people. We have to invest in the long-term effects because, see, when you're doing this, you're not thinking about the long-term effect. You're thinking, I could go against this guy and this is gonna make all these headlines. Go against those people. If you're actually caring, talk to Anthony Evans. Brother, if you're gonna do that, don't do that publicly. Now, what's gonna happen with that daughter? Now, I posted this when I saw it, and I lost a lot of respect for that brother for saying that publicly. I mean, I would have lost respect for him doing it, but him saying it publicly, that child is going to grow up knowing that that's her father. She should grow up knowing that. She's going to grow up saying, well, why didn't he want anything to do with me? Why don't I have a relationship with him? Well, you know why? Because he publicly told you. It's because you wasn't murdered. Your mother allowed you to come into this earth, and I don't want you. Not that I have to take, I'm going to send you the money, but I don't want you. That's a terrible thing for that black face to have to go through, for any child to have to go through. It's one thing not to know who your parent is. Even if you was an orphan, and you say, well, why am I orphan? Where are my parents at? We don't know. Well, you could say, well, maybe my parents got killed in an automobile accident. Maybe they died in a plane crash. Maybe something happened and maybe, they did it for my best interest. But if you find out that your parents didn't care about you, they knew about you, they didn't want you, they wished that they could have killed you, that's going to affect you in a different way. You're going to be a scarred mind. And this is what my point is about the Stephen A. debacle, that this person that doesn't see the value in a black face, a black father that's doing positive things in our community. However you feel about a basketball player, you don't attack our good parents, parenting skills. When you have bad parents out there, it's a whole lot of NBA players. You could have went to Karl Malone, said Karl Malone, as a father. Don't do this. And if anyone knows Karl Malone's story, he has a bunch of kids, a lot of them that he won't have anything to do with. A lot of them, some of them made it to the NFL. Some of them made it probably to the WNBA. I know he had a daughter that was high up in women's college basketball. And a lot of them would say, well, I don't have any relationship with him. I never really met him. He would never acknowledge me. That's the ones you attack about their parenting skills. But you don't see the blackface value and the damage that's done by attacking. One thing that we should never attack about amongst each other is an image that they will try to perpetuate. Black fathers are not there. Black fathers are bad parents. Black people are bad parents. When the Carmelo Anthony kid had the incident at the school where he killed the other kid, where was his parents at? This is an example. This is what the narrative that they put out. We can't support their narrative. We have to invoke our own narrative, our own positive images, our own history. We have to do that. We have to fight against a counter move against the movements that are being made against us. We can't hold that into effect. A lot of these Uncle Toms, I'm gonna say they're Uncle Toms. A lot of people, this is what I hear. Uncle Tom wasn't a bad guy. Y'all don't understand Uncle Tom. Uncle Tom is a fictional character in a fictional book by Harriet Beecher Stowe, a white woman. It was about the time, it's actually a slave abolishment type book. She was anti-slavery, so she was trying to create a story that was they didn't have the media like we have now. So they wrote books and try to show examples of things that was happening. So people, they'll say, oh, I'm reading about these slaves, and it's not just about slavery. I'm hearing about these slaves and their particular lives and things from their vantage points. When we say Uncle Tom in the Black community, we're talking about those that basically sell us out or that believes in the white system. Any of these guys, they will tell you, anybody you call an Uncle Tom, the only people that will come to the the rescue for Uncle Tom and say, "Oh, well, that's just Josiah Simpson or Josiah Henson, and he was a good person." And no, that wasn't Josiah. She got the image of the person, Uncle Tom, from images that we see. That's Aristotelian mimesis, saying that art is just a representation of life. If I write a story, if I write a play, if I write a book, if I write a movie, the people in that book, the characters it won't be somebody that I just created from scratch. They're gonna have some either a look in mind or characteristics of somebody I've seen before, something I've seen before on TV, and I may embellish on that. I may create a president that's a crook that the people love. And I say, you know what? I'm gonna use Obama because the people love him. That don't mean he was a crook or he had anything, that my character. I'm taking the image. Now, many of these people that'll tell you, man, Uncle Tom was did this and all this positive stuff. They probably never read the book. The first chapters in the book talks about two slaves. Two white men, slave owners, were trying to sell these slaves. One man, they having a drink. He's trying to convince the other slave owner that to buy buy basically Uncle Tom. And the guy saw the young woman. He wanted the young black slave woman that was a mother and a child. He wanted to buy the child. The one that owned Uncle Tom. This is what he said. He's a good Negro. He didn't use the word Negro. He said he's very obedient. He's very loyal to me. He's a Christian. He has, and not just a Christian, he has Christian values of loyalty to me. He said, I gave him a large sum of money to go up north to make some kind of deal. He said he didn't run. He could have easily went across the border with the money and freed himself. He said other slaves or other people like, why didn't you leave? Why didn't you run? Why didn't you take this $600 or do whatever? Tom said, because I gave my word and I'm loyal to my master. Basically, I'm paraphrasing. Because he was a good slave to a person that was enslaving him. That's Uncle Tom. I don't care what you think that he does good or his characteristics. He's a good slave. That's the bottom line of the Uncle Tom character. He feels like he owes his slave owner something. Many of us that have a low value of black faces, of when they see another black face, this is the mentality that you have. You act like as if you owe it to someone to be neutral and anything like this. But America isn't neutral. The world isn't neutral. You don't have to go out and say, well, I'm going to teach white history and I'm going to teach black history. No, the world already going to get white history. You need to make up for you need to compensate for what they're neglecting and what they're destroying. But you're trying to be the good slave and talk about us, and you don't talk about us, or you go overboard talking about us when you don't talk about them in the same way. That's even worse. If you sit there and say, well, I got to talk about everyone the same, you got to realize that there's a blackface value because everyone is not treated the same in this country. The movies that you are making, if it is depicting a bad value or supporting a value, a negative image of us, then you're doing us a disfavor. When we are watching your movies and supporting your movies, they are seeing your movies. You're doing a blackface devaluing a thing to us because we are seeing your regenerating the same negativity that has been perpetuated in our community. You're making money doing it. When you have the power to make some positive images, when you have the power to make movies about Black people doing positive things, or those Black people that have done positive things. You could pick a plethora of our heroes. You don't have to go out and make superhero movies or some fictitious person. You got superheroes in our community that our people don't know about. Make those type of movies and films and stop devaluing our Black faces. I appreciate everyone that showed up. Hopefully, I have a better show for y'all next week. This is Kevin Lewis on the Blueprint. Peace. I appreciate my man William for showing up also. Peace.